I am going to make 20 cards from a card kit and chat as I go. Hi everyone, this is Debbie from Project 39 Mini Albums. Today, as I make the cards, first I'm going to show you what was in this card kit. And obviously, you may have seen it. It came from Love from Lizi. I had just picked it up and I decided I was going to smash the whole thing and make as many cards as I could. So I'm going to show you the process of making cards. And I'll chat a little bit about the making the cards, about why I'm not showing you mini albums, because that's what I usually show you, and talk a little bit about traveling and crafting from an RV. As you can see, I've already stamped some things, and I have used the dies, but I'll be using those a little bit during the video. So I already have some things ready to go. Yeah, I usually do mini albums, and today I just decided I need some cards. So I'm going to show you me making cards. Now, it is unusual for me to use a card sketch, but I am channeling my inner Christy Marcotte. If you don't know who she is on YouTube, and she makes these amazing cards and has quick videos showing you making like 10 cards from one kit or something like that. Um, and she uses card sketches all the time. Now, one of the videos I did a couple of years ago that was really popular is making cards without a card sketch. And it's just really was more my style. I just used scraps of paper and showed how I put them all together. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll put a link in the description box. I'm just making myself a note so I remember to do that. But as I said, I'm going to use sketches today. To these sketches all came from I was on Christy Marcotte's blog, and she has a list of all of the card sketch companies that she uses. So I just clicked on one and either used the first one they had or just look for one that was interesting. And there are some cards towards the end that I didn't even use a card sketch. I used this Love from Lizi kit. I purchased it to begin with because of these cute donkeys. I have a friend who RVs with us sometimes and took a side trip in Texas to this place where there's donkeys free roaming and you can just go and feed them, talk with them. They're nice, they're cute, they're friendly. In fact, they're very friendly. They'll follow you around looking for more food. But anyhow, I thought of her as I was making these cards. The sending sunshine and smiles along your way, those are all on the stamp pad. So this kit came with, it was fabulous. It came with the paper, it came with the stamps, it came with dies, and with the dies for the sunflower die, it came with a stencil to color them. So I'll show you a little bit later how to do that. So as I said, I RV and I usually make mini albums. So if you are looking for mini albums, yes, I usually make mini albums, but I just love paper crafting. So even if it's not a mini album, it is paper. Um, maybe you're making a mini album as you're listening to me chit chat, and that's okay. I love the Love from Lizi because these peel offs are really pretty. Although this one I don't think I put on very straight, and it took me a little bit to get it on there. I think I was late on this one. I should have actually tucked it underneath, like you saw me do that on another one. You can see that card sketch. Um, Oops, I just moved it. It had that little scallop at the end, and so I just used the punch that I had. I'm trying to line everything up so I can cut it all the same. So anyhow, I live, I travel, and I craft from my RV. I have a fifth wheel that has, it used to be like a small bedroom. It's just 7 foot by 7 foot, and it is my RV studio. I do have a video on my channel on a craft room tour for my RV, and I do plan within the next couple of weeks, I do plan on making another video, just an RV tour of the whole RV. I don't think I've done that. It's crazy. We've been traveling for Well, sold the house and emptied it out in 2019 and hit the road and haven't looked back. So we do stay. Sometimes we'll stay for a long time. Sometimes we'll be in a campground just for a day. Just depends on what our mode is going to be. Right now, I am boondocking in Florida. We're just staying on friends' property and getting ready for the next couple of weeks. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to hit the road again, and this will be our Western trip. Sometimes we'll go out west, sometimes we'll go out east. Usually, it's every other year. So on this one, I have Thank You, which is from a different card stamp set. I think it's from Avery L, but I'm not positive. Um, I'm just cutting some of the circles just to add as a background on the thank you, just to make it pop a little bit. So yeah, I liked how these cards came out. Love the donkey, love the background. So I tried to use everything. So even though the green paper didn't come with the kit, I took it from my stash so I had some background. I had this embossed piece already in my stash, and I thought, well, it's a pretty good color. I just inked it a little bit just to make it a little bit darker. And here I'm following this Sweet Sunday sketch. We'll see how close I actually come to the sketch. So yes, I do normally make mini albums, and I know a lot of people follow me and don't watch if I don't make mini albums. They usually turn me off. So that's why I thought, well, maybe you just want to hear a little bit about me and about the traveling life. So besides making my mini albums, which I do videos on and tutorials. If you're new and you haven't seen it, I'll make a mini album. Sometimes I'll do a cutting guide and list it in my coffee shop. Sometimes it's just because I'm having fun using the paper. But I do try to travel with a minimal amount of paper. So that is why I'm in this Paper Stash Smash collab. So I sort of stay on track on using my paper. This card kit was 6x6 paper, and it sort of comes in handy for the month of April. The criteria for the month of April for the collab is anything goes, really, free choice. So I wanted to use the card kit. Even though I did just purchase it, I just thought, you know what, perfect timing. Let's use it up and make something fun with it. I originally had purchased the kits thinking I could make some mini albums with some of the paper, but I just was in the mood to make cards. I really need some thank you cards in my stash, so I thought I would do that. I do have another one that I'll use before the end of the month that I'm going to try to make a small mini album or folio. So stay tuned for that. So it's using a card kit to make something besides cards. So I decided on this card to ink below where it says sunshine, just to add a little color. I used that craft color cardstock because that was the base of my cards. It's sort of a little flat, so that's why I added the color behind it. So that is sort of following the sketch, but now I felt like it needed some embellishments. So I'm taking one of the sunflowers and adding just some of the ephemera that also came with the kit, and just add a little something something to the corner. By the end of this, I have just tiny scraps left as far as the paper. I don't think I show it, but I really smashed most of it. What I had left of the ephemera, I added to the inside of the cards. So this one was, I wanted to use the sunflowers. Oh, I wanted to use this frame. So this frame came from the Love from Lizi, and I really thought it was cute. I actually saw the card sketch has two frames in it, but once I put it on, I just thought, you know what, it's a little bit too busy for this card. and I'm just going to do the one frame. I do, before I finish it, put some of the peel-offs. Those are the Love from Lizi teeny little tiny strips. See, it's just too busy. It just doesn't do it for me, so we just stick with the frame. But anyhow, I do put the peel-offs between the stripe dotted paper and the sunflower paper after it's all said and done. If you look at the photos at the end, you'll see it. So I like this. I like how this came out. Yes, it is nice using card sketches because you don't have to think as much. You know, that the card sketches do really all the heavy lifting. It's just a matter of putting it all together, and there's still a degree of um, designing. For instance, cutting the banner on this thank you. I sort of think it came out nice. I did raise up these donkeys just so they're sort of level with the frame. That gold frame is sort of chunky. Not too chunky to send in a card, but still. Okay, so I'm showing you this Mojo Monday sketch has the measurements in it. So I try to follow those pretty much. What I end up doing with this one is, so this bright yellow paper came with the card kit, and it was just really bright to me. I mean, I could have used it with the sunflowers, but I wanted a background, and I was trying to use the things that came with the kit for the most part. Like I say, I do add some extra paper. So I'm just inking everything up just to tone it down a little. And then I realized I'm not going to use the paper for the whole thing to cover the hole. So you'll see what I do. Anyhow, I said I'm channeling my inner Christy Marcotte. So if you don't know who she is here on YouTube, and she is an amazing card creator. She puts out videos fairly often with card kits or paper collections or whatever. And she is much more organized than I am, I will tell you that. And she's pleasant to listen to. So I enjoy listening to her and seeing where she's getting her ideas from. So you'll have to check out her channel. I still think this yellow is really bright, but I still go with it. I'm using my Big Shot to uh, layer some of the words, the word, the sunshine. So I'm going with that really teeny one and layer that on top of the craft color one that I cut. Now that's why I didn't use this for the rest of the card kit. It's really tedious, but you really get a good bang for the buck. And let me tell you, these dies were fabulous. They cut like butter. I just was really impressed with the quality of everything in this kit. The paper was a good quality. These dies were fabulous. The stamps were wonderful. I mean, really detailed. The um, the stencil to color the stamps were perfect, just spot on. Now I don't mind coloring, or I don't mind painting or inking to get some color, but I know some people don't like to. So it was neat to get um, this stencil to go with it. And like I said, I'll show you in a little bit me using this stencil. Right now I'm just making some sunshine. I'll put that on there. Sending sunshine wishes for your birthday. So you can't even see that hole that I popped out of there. And then I can use the big round circle that I use underneath this. I first put that sending sunshine, I glued it on, and somewhere along the way I realized, oh, I do have uh, a background. Oh, I didn't glue it on, but somewhere I mess up along the way, which is par for the course. I'm using some scrap paper just to make sure everything is flat and on the same level. There we go. See, I glue that on, and then I'm putting this underneath just so it's the same level as the uh, that rectangle. And I don't know when I realized that I totally messed up and really should have put the yellow circle underneath it. But eventually I realize it and I peel it up. No harm, no foul. I glue this on here. I like layers too. I know Christy Marcotte talks about she loves to do layers. I do too. I just think it really makes the cards pop. I've done cards without layers and they just don't look great to me. All right, cutting some more of the donkey paper. Look at that donkey with the sunflowers. Isn't that just the cutest thing? I think I'm looking over at the measurements to make sure I have the right measurement. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to decide, should I cut it down to 3 or leave it the 3 1/4? I don't think the paper was exactly 6 by 6. I think that's where I um, got into trouble with some of the measurements. I don't know. I don't remember. But I'm just following the guide and want to make sure everything is exactly the right measurement. This, truth be told, is not my favorite card sketch because well, it's not that the card sketch is bad. It's just the patterns are very busy, and I shouldn't have used these busy patterns together. But I didn't have any base color, like like more of those polka dots. If I did, I think it would have made it a little bit easier for me. Now, in the card kit that I get that I'm going to do next month, I did get some extra paper, some add-ons, and it's not that expensive. So it was worth it to me to do. So for here, I wanted to put the baker's twine, but it sort of got lost. So I took a teeny scrap of the paper, turned it upside down, so the white side showing, and this works because the white is the background of this card sketch. Now I take an inordinate amount of time to tie bows. That one was pretty quick, but sometimes I struggle. I don't know about you. Do you guys have problems tying bows? And I know Amazon sells like bows already tied, but how do you know they're going to be the right color? I guess I can always ink things up, but I'm just going to struggle. This one I decided I'm just going to like put that strip of paper in the or the twine in the back and tie a bow on it, and that works okay. Here I get real fancy schmancy and decide to use some gold foiling that I just had some scraps of. Now with this kit there is a gold marker, so I was hoping that I would use it. I know I use it on one. I don't know that I use it on more than one. I put that one piece of paper on, decided I didn't like it, so I grabbed something from my stash, just cut it to the right size, glue it on, and take this orange. So this twine came with the kit too, the twine and this sparkly baker's twine. There was some orange cardstock that came with the kit too, and it was a very bright orange and I did not use it. I just put it away and I'll use it on something else on another day. I just die cut some extra backgrounds. I did 2 scallop and 2 dotted circles and added it on here. This one I was messing. I wasn't sure where I should put it. But I need thank you cards. So, and then, once you put everything together, you don't realize how busy the paper is. Okay, now I get to play with the stamp. So I've got that plastic mat on my platform is a sticky mat, so it usually keeps it in place really well. I'm inking this up a couple of times. Oh, isn't that just a beautiful image? It really came out nice. I'm using clear embossing powder for it. Get out my little heat tool. Let the magic happen. Oh, I mean, how many times have we done this? And every time it's like magic. I'm showing you here how I clean my stamps. Some people have asked me somewhere down the road how I did it. So I use that stamp cleaner I put on just a little bit, and use my toothbrush. Now, I mean, this stamp was really detailed. I just take it and rinse it in the sink, and you saw how clean it was. Okay, here I'm using the fabulous stencils. So you just, there's 4 different ones for this sunflower. So I just sort of lightly ink with the lighter color, and then I'm sort of shading a little bit close to that circle center. You see those lines I put? That is so I can match it up. When it's something like a flower that's got so many petals, you almost twirl the whole darn stencil just to find the right spot. So I put a little cheater line on it so I can match it up every time. If you are not fond of coloring or you don't think you're a good colorer, get stencils. And these were fabulous. I'm just using green. I didn't care too much whether or not the green had shading or not, because you're really just going to look at the flower. So we had this little strip of paper on this card base, cut it on the back, take some of those peel-offs, and just use small pieces because I know most of it's going to be covered. And put the peel-offs to the back, so then when you use your adhesive to glue it onto the card base, those peel-offs won't go anywhere. And then here is the card base. And obviously I cut the oval from it before I used it. And then I put it on. I have a hard time getting it straight. But look at that sunflower. Isn't that fabulous? I mean, it really just came out good. I decided to pop it up with a little bit of dimensional foam adhesive just to add a little something something. Of course, if you get it too chunky, it's not going to go through the mail. It's got to be less than a 1/4 inch thick, the whole envelope. So I'm really cautious about it. I don't double stack my adhesive. I just keep it fairly thin. So I want to put a background on that thank you, and I feel like the best bet is to use that little piece of paper. I had that green. I ran it through my die cut machine, and it really made it thin. I inked over it because some of that white core of the paper is showing. Anyhow, I put it on my card base, add a peel off. I'm using a little bit bigger one here just because there's that stark contrast between the pattern and the green, wood green paper. And since I already glued it on, I don't put the peel offs so they come through the back. You see that bright yellow sunflower? I used the fun foam that came in the kit, and I did ink around it just so if you look at it on the side, it just blends a little bit better. You don't need to. So I'm trying to figure out what I can put as a background on that little thank you. And I just decided to take care of that first one with that yellow. Just cut it with my new Fiskars paper trimmer. You may not have noticed it because I bought it halfway through this video. And I make the thank you. For this card, the thank you is popped up a little bit. It's the same layer as the sunflower. Here I decided to tie a little bow. Here I tried to tie a little bow. I think I'm having a problem tying a knot. And then you try to make it smaller, so you have to push and make sure it's smaller, trying to decide where that thank you is going to go. And I decide I'm just going to glue it right down onto the bottom and glue that bow. I'm using like a little sticky dot and put that on the stem of the sunflower. Okay, another Mojo Monday. So I've got little strips left, so I decided I am going to use these strips to make another card, because when you get down to the end of the paper pad, usually it's just little pieces. So I like this card sketch. I don't like how it came out. I don't know. I don't I don't think the paper choice was perfect. But I made 4 of these cards, so it's okay. I take my gold pen and just do lines, just dotted lines around the outside of the card. I just think this green was a little bit too blah. Maybe that's why I didn't like the cards. So obviously that one little piece, I had to stretch it. So I cut it in half because I knew that the circle was going to cover most of it. And put it on the card base. And the final card in this, or I think I did 4 of this style. Like I said, I was using up all the rest of the paper that I had. Well, except for 1 or 2 pieces. I think that's going to be the last card. And like I said, you see all the cards. So here, these were just scraps of paper left. And this is a real simple card. I just take that scrap and put it on the green cardstock. Take some of the peel-offs, put them on either side. And and then put the sunflowers on it because I was on a roll. I was doing assembly line coloring these sunflowers. Not a lot. I think I may have done 6 of them. And if I have any left over, I can always put them on the inside of the card or put them on the envelope, maybe. More peel-offs for this card. I do love these peel-offs. I do think that adds big zing to the card. Realized I needed to trim it down a little bit so it fit. Trim it down a lot, really. I do like it better on the dotted one, but that's okay. Glue the sunflower down. And I do, in a little bit, show you some fun things to do with that sunflower stamp. Not just a black outline on white paper, something a little different. So here we go. I'm taking this light maroon and I'm stamping with clear Versamark, and then I'm using gold. And then I end up heat embossing that gold. That is really pretty. Here's the card base. So this card base is 7 by 5. I decided to use for my last card a large card base. I wanted to have the full effect of this gorgeous stamp on here. So I'm just using some of that Versamark on the edge of this card, using the gold. I realize I'm missing a little bit. Oh, I'm taking that little uh, paintbrush and some of the gold. I didn't use the powder to make sure that it wouldn't stick. I sort of like this pink with the gold. So I'm taking this household bleach. So yes, you can bleach paper. I'm using this old water pen. I don't use it for anything else. It really doesn't have a good point, but it works for this. So you put it on and every paper, it turns out a little different. So I do like it, but I thought, you know what, it looks a little blah. So I add some color back in. And after I was doing this with a water pen, water brush, then I was thinking, why didn't I just use the stencil? And then I was thinking, well, why didn't I just use it on white paper? Adding some green, adding some gray green. So yeah, I felt like it needed some more definition. Getting out my die cutting machine. But I didn't like it. So I'm doing it differently. So this time I'm doing it with clear embossing powder, which is fabulous. Doesn't that look beautiful? So we're going back with the bleach technique because why not? It's fun. I've got another video on, I made some other cards way back when, and I used the bleach on the paper. I used it on blue. That came out gorgeous just as well. But don't you like that? I think that looks really neat. And yeah, if you use your dryer, it works a little bit better. So again, I'm just adding a little bit more color back in, just a little bit. I don't think I add green to this one, but I don't like that one either. So I do it on white with a black ink. I didn't even emboss this one. I was getting tired of trying to figure out the right combination. But I wanted to show you that fun trick with the bleach because yeah, you should try it at least once. It really is fabulous. I'm making a note video, so I try to link that one bleach video. All right, so I like this. It's more subtle than that bright yellow like the sunflower colors would normally be. And so I'm very lightly adding some of the green here. Again, subtle. All right, I've taken arches from, I have some arch dies in my stash, and I am adding some glue to the inside edge of this arch. I want to use some of that glitter that came with the card kit. So I'm putting it on and I'm sort of smearing it, which is a mistake because you know that glue is going to stick to my hand. So I just put it on here. I can't say I don't like glue, but I used to work at a craft store and some customer would come up, especially during Christmas time when glitter was on everything. And I might have one little speck of glitter under my eye, and someone would say, you know, you have glitter on your face. I would think to myself, lady, you don't realize I get home after working an 8-hour day. I have glitter in my belly button. So one speck of glitter on my face, no big deal. Alrighty. I didn't like how this was going, so I decided to use some glue. Just put it right on the card. I wanted some of the glitter to be on the flower, but there was a good close up, but not too much. Okay, now I take another arch that's a little bit bigger, and so I stamped onto this vellum. Now, vellum sometimes will bleed or not dry. This actually was printable vellum, so it worked. But if you don't have printable vellum, you can use regular vellum and just use clear embossing powder on top to help set it. So anyhow, I put that underneath. Now I'm taking some real thin double-sided foam dimensional adhesive. And I know I peeled off that top piece, the backing on the top piece. And I know I peel off this, but just watch and see what else I do. I add some sequins. I have just some colorful sequins. I'm staying in that goldish family, even though all the golds that I use are not all the same kind of golds. And then I put it on here. So I know it's going to adhere because on that top arch, I peeled off the backing, didn't I? Oops, nope, I didn't peel off the backing on the very bottom piece. So I put my sequins back in there and I was able to peel off the backing. So I try my little sunflowers and decide I'm going to use the one that I colored last. I just think it looks nice, but you know, if you do this kind of card, do it on your own. And I did not use a sketch for this one. This one was just me playing around. And I love it. I love how this came out. I like the pinks with the gold. And then there were some of these gems that came in the kit. So I love that one. All right, here's that card, and then I will show you all the rest of the cards I made. In total, I made 20 A2 size cards and that one pink and gold one. So, and then I barely had anything left in the kit as far as paper. I used all the embellishments on the inside. I didn't show you, but I did cut some banners and put them on the inside with all the leftover paper. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And thank you for watching. Have a fabulous